Hello and welcome to Lisa T Creations. My name is Lisa Templeton and I am the Lisa behind the Lisa T Creations. If you are new to the channel, I would really like to invite you to subscribe to the channel and hit that like button because it does help me grow and it kind of feeds the algorithm. If you're a returning subscriber, I am so glad to have you back today. Either way, I definitely welcome you to the channel. And in today's video, we are going to do a fabric terminology 101 style video. It's the first in a series of videos that I would like to create that are designed to help the beginner get started with their sewing creations. And before we actually get into that, I want to preface this video by saying that I don't consider myself an expert sewist. However, I have taken the last 3 years to really develop my skills, and I have reached the intermediate level through a lot of trial and error, a lot of practice, and just a lot of mistakes. So I feel comfortable in doing this beginner series, and this series is basically going to be everything I wish I knew when I was starting out, and it's geared more toward people who in the quilting community and for other creators like me who like to make purses and tote bags and little pouches and everything practical that you can use in your everyday life, but make them out of fabric instead of leather. So to start this video off, what we're going to do is talk about brands. So just like with your clothing, fabrics have brand names, and a few of the more prominent brand names are Moda and Riley Blake and FreeSpirit and Robert Kaufman. These companies create prints and solids, and they usually have designers that work with them that creates lines of fabric, and a lot of those lines of fabric are usually color coordinated. Now that's not always the case. Sometimes the name is the designer, but not always. Now you can also buy fabric in stores like Hobby Lobby and Walmart. Hobby Lobby is going to have a more intermediate level fabric. It's not the top of the line fabric like some of these brand names, but it's not the Walmart brand fabric. And the brand names are going to be really high quality. They're going to have a price tag to match it. What you buy in Hobby Lobby is more mid-range price, and the quality is still good, but it's not the same quality as some of these brand names. And then Walmart, it has to be the most not eco-friendly, but the most economical out of all your options out there. And I recommend starting out with Walmart fabric, even though sometimes you get what you pay for and it's not very good quality. It is very good for beginners because when you're a beginner you make an awful lot of mistakes, and so you don't want to start off using your high-end fabrics because you have to pay more for those. So you want to start off using your more lower-end fabric, and that doesn't cost you as much, so when you mess up you don't feel bad. That's what I think. Also, I think that's all on brand names. So right now I'm going to start you off on the different ways you can buy fabric and what those different ways are called. So stay tuned to the channel. Okay, so what you're seeing right now is some of the footage that I took while we were visiting different quilting stores during the shop hop. the most common way to buy fabric is by the yard. And when you walk into the store to buy fabric, you're going to see that it comes in bolts. Now, they will cut the amount of yardage that you need off the bolt for you. And if you're using a pattern, that pattern will usually tell you how much yardage you need to buy. But as a general rule, always buy a little bit extra to give yourself some wiggle room if you make a mistake. And as you can see, the fabric comes in so much variety. Okay, so I tried to get just a little bit closer so you can see these precuts better. Again, let me start by saying that what they're called commonly in the industry is trademarked by Moda. So they are not all of these types of precuts are going to be labeled exactly the same. I have Moda products to show you. So, this is what Moda calls them. And so for this, the first one I'm going to show you is the 10 by 10 squares. These precuts are usually a sampling of a line of products. In this case, this is from the Grand Haven line from Moda, and these are called a layer cake. And as you can see, it's called a layer cake because they are just stacks of coordinated fabrics. And they also have the pinked edges. So you can see those pinked edges right there, and they're pinked like that to keep them from fraying. So in this particular layer cake, it also has some cutting instructions, but like all of these precuts, there are a number of quilt patterns designed to work with these 10 by 10 squares. And they're really super versatile. I haven't particularly used this size very often. Actually, never that I can think of have I used the 10 by 10s. But again, there are whole quilt patterns designed to work with these squares. So moving on now to all of the next couple of ones. They're very similar. These are 5 by 5 squares. Now, everybody just calls these charm packs, but again, this is a trademark term by Moda, and other companies do sell these 5 by 5 squares, and they are also have the pinked edges. This one is from the Raspberry Summer line. And now I do have a lot of experience working with these 5 by 5 squares. These 5 by 5 squares are great when you have to make half square triangles. They are just incredibly versatile little squares. I mean, you can just do so much with these. So they are worth the investment, especially when it comes to making half square triangles, because it makes half square triangles so easy. So the other thing is these are 2.5 inch squares, and again, as you can see, they're all layered like that. And this one is a mini charm pack. Again, it's used all across the board for these, but the packaging will say something different because of that trademark issue. I can't stress that enough. And but I do use these. These are a lot of fun to make panels with. So in the even though they're small, they're pretty versatile. I mean, you know, it's just too cute. I love these things. I have a ton of them. And I am going to start working on some projects with these because this stack is mine. And so, the next one is a lot of fun too. It's called a jelly roll. And in the quilting world, I mean, people just call these things a jelly roll. This is a Moda, so it is labeled jelly roll. And basically these are 2.5-inch squares, and they come rolled up like this. And it gives you a really good idea of the color scheme that is on there, and you can see the outside print. So you do have a little bit of knowledge of what, I mean, here, this is a little bit better. Let me show you that. It does give you a preview of the prints that are, the way that they're rolled. You do get some idea of what you're buying. And once you have these open, you can never put them back again the way they were, speaking from experience. So I'm not going to open this particular package, but I have one that I've already opened. I will show you what all of these look like outside of the package. And then when we are finished discussing that, what we are going to do is go over a couple more ways that you can buy fabric. So stay with me, okay? Okay, now I haven't laid all of these 10 by 10 squares out because there's just too many of them. But I have laid out some of them so you could see how these are color coordinated. And they have very similar color schemes, and I'm sorry about the shadow on there, but this is what some of those 10 by 10 squares look like. Now sometimes, like this one, they give you 2 of them, and then sometimes they just give you 1. And I'm assuming that they give you 2 of some of these other ones because they anticipate these would be the more popular prints out of the group, and you might want more of that particular one, but that's just an assumption. So this is what the 10 by 10 squares look like. Okay, because these are so similar, I have put out the 5-inch squares and the 2.5-inch squares, and I'm gonna show you what they look like together. I mean, the biggest difference, of course, is the size, but again, sometimes they do 2, and sometimes they do 1, and it's the same all across the board for these, either the 5-inch or the 2.5-inch. They're kind of all the same. And so, and as you can see, all of the colors in the pack are pretty much color coordinated. So you can make a whole quilt out of this one single pack of 5.5-inch squares. And well, you can make a lap quilt out of 1 pack. You would probably need 2 to make a larger size quilt. But here's all the little ones. I mean, these things make quilting easier, but I don't necessarily use all of mine just for quilts. I make tote bag panels and bag panels out of some of these squares as well. So they're very versatile. Okay, for the rolls, I'm gonna do this a little bit different because this one is one that I already opened and I re-rolled it, but I want you to see what they look like when you open them and you unroll them. So I've taken the rubber band off, and basically you just unroll them. And once they're unrolled, this particular roll looks like it gives you sometimes 2, sometimes 3 of each color. It can vary, but the strips are actually folded in half, and they are a little over a yard long. Let's see. Let me see what they are. With the selvage, they are 22 1/4, so that would make them 44 1/2 inches long. But that's what they look like when they're unrolled. And this is the reason why I say once you unroll these, you can't get them back into that same configuration that they were when they were in the package, because they are really hard to re-roll. Okay, so then I have 3 more things to talk about as far as fabric terminology. And so one of the most universal precuts that you can find, and it truly is universal. It's been in Walmart sells them, Hobby Lobby sells them, all the fabric stores sell them, and it is called a fat quarter. And this is what the fat quarter looks like when it's all put. The packaging for this is also a how a fat quarter might come. This one is the one, I think I got that at Walmart, or maybe at yeah, I had them in Walmart. But they come in all different forms of packaging for a fat quarter. Now they're called a fat quarter because they are just a little bit bigger than 1/4 of a yard. And when you unfold them, they are usually an 18 by 22 inch rectangle. So that would be a fat quarter. And along with the other types of precuts, I will show you what these look like when they're unfolded in just a few minutes. So one of the last precuts that there are called remnants. Like in this case, this was pre-packaged by the store. These are pieces that range anywhere from 13 by 10 to 10 or 13 by 15. And basically a remnant is just what it sounds like. It's the leftovers of a bolt. Some stores make their own quilt kits and they have leftover fabrics, and so they'll put them in little remnants packages sometimes. Sometimes they have remnant bins. Walmart has one, and so does Hobby Lobby, I believe, where they have remnants, and usually they put the remnants on sale. Sometimes it's also discontinued fabric, so it really makes them one-of-a-kind fabrics that you won't be able to find again, which makes using remnants challenging, but also you can get really creative, because again, most of the time they're one-of-a-kind fabrics that you can't get anywhere else. So that's remnants. And then the last one is called a panel, and basically a panel is exactly what it sounds like. It's pre-cut, but it's a very specialized pre-cut. So I will turn the camera around now and show you what all these pre-cuts look like. Okay, so this is what a fat quarter looks like when it is unfolded. This one is looks more square but I don't know. Could be that it just needs to be ironed, because you can see all the fold lines. This one is, well, I think that's pretty much because it needs to be folded. It's 21 and or ironed anyway. It's about 21 inches long. You get a good sized portion with fat quarters. You can do a lot with a fat quarter. This is what those remnant pieces look like. This vendor or this seller actually pinked the edges. It doesn't want to focus, so sorry. This vendor actually pinked the edges on this, which is wonderful because it keeps these things from fraying. And so this is what remnants might look like. Each store has their own way of handling selling remnants, but like I said, they can be really fun and really challenge your creativity. Lastly is the panel, and this panel is just a little bit long for my table. But this is why they are pre-cut, the panels. This particular one is a Christmas panel. Now, you can use this panel just like it is and put it in the middle of your quilt, or you can cut these individual squares out. Again, these are very, very, very versatile things. Sometimes they make quilting a snap, and I have used several of them on my projects. I hope that this walk through the different fabric cuts and what they're called was helpful for you. And because when I started out, I had no idea what anything was called, and I had to learn as I go, which, you know, there's nothing really wrong with learning as you go. So if you like this video, I invite you to like it, and if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, I invite you again to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell button so you could get notified when I upload my next video. At this point in time, I'm shooting for like twice a month, so the next video in the series will be all about the different kinds of fabric. So stay tuned to the channel, there's more to come. And as always, thank you for watching and happy sewing.